hello.
Hello, good evening, everybody. And we are live in the Philippines, and Doc
Yeah,
Marivik is live from the US.
yeah. Saturday again. Saturday
And
morning. You know,
another
Sally,
Saturday evening for us.
yeah, it's hard to wake up in the morning, and it's getting cold, really getting cold again.
Uh, well,
Yesterday, I went out. I have to come back in to get my jacket or my sweater. It was cold.
in the Philippines, it's actually very pleasant because this is the time of year that finally we're not sweating when we go out in the morning.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's just slightly cool instead of being stinking hot.
It's probably just right for you guys.
Yeah. This is a lovely time of year. We're still having rain and storms, which is quite unusual. That's quite late for this time of year. But
Mhm.
the daytime is not too hot, and the mornings are really beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice. It's the nicest. Okay, I think we need to.
Let's run
Oh,
through
magandang
our
gabi sa
normal
inyo.
introduction.
Uh-huh.
Here we
Good
go.
evening, everyone. And then, magandang umaga dito sa Florida, sa USA. Okay, let's get
Okay,
started.
so today we have a CDC huddle. So this is under the CDC. So we're going to run through our 5 point agenda very, very quickly because everybody is familiar with this. So I will
Yeah.
start. Yes to freedom of speech and open access to all information to achieve genuine informed consent. And this is very valid these days. We have a lot of issues with censorship and silencing of narratives. Okay. Number two, Doc, you want to take that?
Oh, number two, yes, to individualized healthcare as it is the best form of medicine. There is no such thing as universal health care, as each person is unique. The sanctity of the doctor-patient relationship must remain inviolable, and medication and treatment must be based on individual cases, not
Yeah,
on a one-size-fits-all basis. Wow. Okay,
yeah.
that's very important. We've been that's the vital, what do you call this,
It's the
issue.
basis of medicine. It's the basis
Yeah.
of conventional medicine where we deal
Mhm.
with patients individually.
Yeah.
Okay, number
That's
three.
obviously number three.
Okay. Yes to respecting natural immunity from natural infection. And this is not just talking about COVID, this is talking about all infections. And when viruses evolve and bacteria evolve, the human immune system adapts.
Mhm.
Okay, next slide. Doc, take this one.
No to mandatory vaccination, medication, and treatment, most especially for children. This is a very big issue still, especially in vaccination. Medical treatments and options are each person's constitutionally guaranteed individual choice, not the government's. That's very important. That's how we got into big situation during the pandemic because they
That's why
mandated.
we are where we are now, which is not a
Mhm.
good place in terms of health.
Yeah. Okay. The last one. No globalized, centralized health regulation dictating medical interventions. Government job is to protect its people, not to submit to the wishes of unelected foreign corporation and or agencies. So guys, up to now we're still fighting the WHO, right? Yeah.
We are.
So I think that's gonna change very soon. I don't know. There's very good chance that America is gonna withdraw again. So let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, next slide.
Okay, join our Viber group. Please scan the QR code and come along and join us.
Yeah. Next slide, Francis. Okay, our disclaimer: the CDC Ph is not anti-vax. Oh, so this individual health freedom.
Yeah,
Sally,
this is
am I going to continue
um,
or you?
okay. I will continue. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the CDC, which is the concerned doctors and citizens of the Philippines. For a proper medical diagnosis of your condition, please consult your doctor. And I always say, if you do not agree, get a second opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is ours here. Everybody knows by now that we what do you call this, rescheduled, or the the detox and well-being fair Florida was rescheduled for January 11th. So will everybody uh what do you call this, we have this uh, Francis, somebody was asking me about how they can get this online. So we'll post it again, but I'm inviting everyone again. January 11th, this is going to be our new date for the Detox and Wellbeing Fair, World Council for Health, Florida. Okay. Tingnan nyo na lang po, nakapost yan dun sa aming mga, what do you call this? Aming mga accounts sa social media. It's on X, on Facebook, it's everywhere. So wow, we're also doing it by email, especially those people who already registered to attend. Okay, next slide. Ayan po, WCH Florida. And for those people who are here in the US, would rather that you attend in person. Ano na, kukunti na lang ang natitirang tickets for this. So, if ever, yeah, we're really, really close to being completely sold out. And so, if you cannot attend in person, then just get it, just attend online. Yeah. So, that's WCH Florida Detox and Wellbeing Fair. Oh, this is another one. Sally, are you gonna tackle this?
Okay, so
This is
Lunas Filipinas, we have a Bayanihan Health and Wellness Festival happening end of next week. Balik sigla mula sa pandemya. My very important. Hello, there you go. Save the date,
that is
please.
very nice. You're doing it good, Sally.
Thank you. I have been living here for so long, I will be embarrassed if I cannot try. Okay, so please save the date. This is going to be on November 30 and December 1. The venue has been changed and the venue will be announced in the next few days. We will announce this of all of our groups. Anyone who's interested to sponsor, exhibit, and or attend, please contact Lunas Filipinas Coalition at gmail.com. I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to be there, and I'm donating some blood sugar testing strips so that people can test their blood sugar,
Mm,
which is a very important basis of health.
yeah,
So yeah, so I will be there, and I'm hoping that we can see lots of people. That's exciting. So
yeah. That
please look
should
out
be.
for this. Please look out for this on all of our chat groups. We will announce the revised venue for that.
Uh-huh. And Sally, I think Attorney Tanya invited some other Asian country to participate or something.
Yeah, I understand they have, but I think it might not be enough time yet. And I understand that there's going to be another event in January, and this
Oh,
event is going to be quite big because we're looking at inviting some of the big names, and hopefully they're interested in presenting to Congress.
oh,
Okay, so we'll
that's
see.
gonna
We'll see
be
what
tough.
happens there. I can't disclose too much yet, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
someone Gino Matibag has said to Doc Villa, "Are you familiar with Dr. Jane Ruby? She's from Florida. Is she someone that you're talking about? You talk to?"
No, I haven't. I haven't spoken to her. Yeah, she's always. She is very good in talking, Jane. No, I haven't. I haven't spoken to her, and I haven't met her in person. But yes, she's from Florida. All her, I think, programs, uh, or I don't know. She has her own program, and I think they're in Rumble. It's like,
Yeah, correct.
yeah. Oh, Sally, look at the
Okay,
title.
I know. Look at this. The tables have turned. Will RFK Jr. sue Dr. Fauci? What do you think, Doc?
uh, I don't know if he's gonna sue him, and but something is gonna happen. He needs to be made answerable. But
He needs to be held accountable for what he
yeah,
has done. And if
mhm.
anybody has read the real Anthony Fauci, the book,
Yeah.
you will
Does have
understand.
you read it, Sally,
I
or
have
no?
a, I have a autographed copy, autographed by RFK Jr. So it is
Hmm.
my prized possession. I have his real signature. Um,
Yeah.
so it's actually quite shocking. Dr. Anthony Fauci has been a career, um, I don't know what you would call him. He's been a career medical executive directing the
Yeah.
health of the US. And he was very critical in the HIV epidemic. And
Hmm.
he promoted drugs that killed patients. We're talking about AZT, which didn't help patients with HIV, it killed them. And then he was
Yeah.
also involved in experimentation on children. So when you read that book, you will be absolutely shocked at
I
the
know.
scope, the inhumanity of what has been done to people.
Yeah, if you read his book, it's like, what the heck? What this person should be in jail. And
Yeah,
but Sally, the first thing first is because it's very controversial. All the cabinet members of Trump.
yes,
Uh, is he gonna be confirmed? The
correct. They're saying,
RFK.
will they be able to block him? Because even the big food industries want to block the appointment of
Yeah.
Kennedy because he threatens them because he's asking them to clean up their act.
Yeah. So, well, the question is why? Yeah, why would he sue him if ever? And is it
Um,
possible?
I,
I don't
I
know.
don't think I don't think it's RFK that needs to sue him. I think it would need to be the justice system. It's not
Yeah.
RFK. It's not RFK personally, because we know that RFK is going to act within the
Hmm.
jurisdiction of the law. But if RFK comes in,
Yeah.
definitely there's going to be a lot of questions asked and answered.
Yeah. And you know, let me ask you something. In the Philippines, you guys don't have COVID vaccine anymore, or what's
No, no,
the?
it's out of stock, and I think the bivalent was approved, but as far as I know, I haven't heard that anybody got it.
Is taking it? Oh
So
wow.
when the vaccine's already expired, the government's not providing them anymore, and I don't think the demand is high enough for private companies to bring them in.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
from what for the Filipinos, we have the same question. Whatever is RFK going to do? What's going to be the impact for? What is he going to do to the Philippines?
Well, RFK, the main thing he's going to be doing is looking at the safety of all vaccines. So, I mean, that should have a spillover effect. He's also looking at the safety of food supply and the use of
Yeah.
chemicals. So all of these do have a spillover effect to the Philippines because, let's face it, the Philippines follows the US.
Yeah. But Sally, I think our food in the Philippines is much healthier than what we have here.
Um, when you look at what people buy here and
Yeah.
the if you go grocery shopping here and you look at people's carts, you will be very shocked that very few people buy vegetables.
Yeah.
Many people are buying lots and lots of junk food. So I think we have a problem here. You know, Kennedy is looking at the additives and preservatives. I know one of them is BHT. Um, and when I look at the food labels, the ingredient labels on cereals, we have all of these chemicals here as well. So I'm hoping that Kennedy's work will mean that everybody starts to understand that we need to look at what we're eating and we need to avoid additives and particularly chemical ingredients.
Yeah. And for those people na mga nakikinig po, si RFK is the one behind the movement of Make America Healthy Again.
Maha. So we
Yeah.
need we need Maha, make Philippines healthy again.
Yeah, actually make the world healthy again. And
Yes, agreed. Absolutely.
yeah, he gave up he used to be one of the presidential candidate, right? And then somehow
Yes.
Trump just spoke with him, and before we realized it, he got out of the presidential race, and then he started working with Trump and actually started campaigning for him, and that's how it happened. And uh, I I'm I'm gonna tell you guys my event for the fair World Council for Health Florida detox and well-being protocol. We are doing that exactly to align with what is doing make healthy America, make America healthy again. And so our event is actually our very first project, and yeah, the goal is really to align with what he's trying to do. So Sally, are you familiar with what he's trying to do, or his very
Yeah,
goal?
I mean he has a very broad he has a
Uh-huh.
very broad umbrella. So he's looking at food and he's
Yeah,
looking at chemicals in food. He's looking at industrial chemicals, I assume, because industrial chemicals are also a big health risk. And then he's looking at the vaccines. And
yeah,
he's not anti-vaccine. He is pro-safe vaccine, meaning that he wants to look at where are the safety studies, where are the efficacy studies. Are these products really safe to inject it to our children and ourselves? And where is the data to support that?
yeah. And to me, the most important thing that he's going to be focusing on really is to reduce the chronic diseases in
Yeah,
America. But
reduce the
again, yeah, it's applicable to everyone, because as we realize it now, that the chronic diseases are not confined to the older population anymore, because all the kids, Sally, and that's why
yeah, absolutely.
vaccination is going to be worked on heavily. And
Yeah,
he suggested to remove the what do you call this, the
hepatitis
childhood
B at birth.
vaccination schedule.
Hep B at birth, and they need to review the entire schedule. And another thing then they're going to look at is sugar intake. There's
Yes.
recently been published a lot of papers, or several papers, looking at the impact of sugar. And sugar is not a safe ingredient. And
Yeah.
there's the recent paper that I saw. They said that they looked at epidemiological data from World War II when there was rationing and no sugar intake, and then after World War II there was sugar intake, and they looked at the outcome of babies born during that time, and they found that
Mm.
the babies born during sugar rationing, when they grew up, they had much lower rates of diabetes and high blood pressure, whereas the children born when the mothers had unlimited access to sugar had much higher rates of diabetes and high blood pressure. So this is telling us what you eat has very important consequences for the health of your children, and for all of us. So,
Mm.
the one thing I keep telling to everybody, like a broken record, is you have to cut your sugar intake.
Yeah.
And in the Philippines, everything is sweet. Filipinos are so sweet, but
Yeah.
not good for health. Not good for health.
Yeah. So let me ask you, who's the equivalent of RFK in the Philippines, if there is?
Oh,
Is there
voila. Who?
really?
We don't have an RFK in the Philippines. Um,
No, in
you know,
terms of but he's going to be the secretary of
he's gonna be,
health and human services.
HHS in the Philippines. Our secretary for the Department of Health is Teddy Herbosa.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, and I don't, as far as I know, we don't have an equivalent of HHS here in the Philippines.
So what is the Herbosa doing now? What is he gonna do?
Herbosa is pushing pediatric vaccines at the moment, and
What?
also adult vaccines. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're having catch up drives because people haven't responded sufficiently to the government's call for vaccinations.
Sally, do you remember the names of this? There were like three pediatrician, no? I forgot the names. I'm sorry, guys, but it's already known that the vaccinated children compared to the non-vaccinated, they have so many problems, right?
This is Paul Thomas. Paul Thomas is looking at that. Dr. Paul Thomas, and he has a Substack, and he's a U.S. pediatrician, and he did a very comprehensive paper looking at children born into his practice, and
Mhm.
comparing children who were vaccinated and children who were not vaccinated, and the children who were not vaccinated had massively better outcomes in terms of a whole range of health
Yeah.
outcomes. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
Dr.
RFK
Paul
is
Thomas, yeah,
also behind the children health defense, right?
correct,
You guys
yes,
know that. And so, I'm also working or coordinating and collaborating with these people because the CHD, it has different chapters, but we have the Florida chapter. So the MAHA and the CHD are kind of, you know well, the same. It's he's the one behind that, and
yeah,
it's gonna be like we're gonna see big changes in terms of the vaccination schedule, and children, and Sally, yeah, hepatitis B. That's the big
hepatitis B at
question.
birth is the big one because that's often given without consent.
That's you mean when the baby comes out?
Yeah,
The kid.
they give it to children without asking the parents. And my oldest daughter, she was given hepatitis B without my consent. I had no idea that she'd been given it until I saw the hospital bill when they
it,
billed me for it.
it's
And
amazing.
my oldest daughter has major health issues. Um,
Yeah. Oh wow.
very, very, very severe asthma. She has a lot of allergic conditions, and
Mm,
all she got was hep B, and I didn't know. I
mm,
honestly I didn't know that they would give it without asking, and they gave it to her, and I only found out when it was too late. And with my second daughter, I already understood that you have to talk to your doctors, and you have to deny you have to tell them not to give it, because if you don't say anything, they will give it without
Yeah,
asking.
but Sally, the thing is, are they even are the parents asking, or are the parents given the consent? Because that's
No,
a
no,
very
they're
big
not. They're
problem even up
not.
to now.
So it's assumed consent, and if you
Yeah,
don't want it, you have to speak out and tell them you don't want it officially. But if you don't say anything, they will do it without asking.
yeah. When you on YouTube, you're familiar with John Campbell, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, John. He was cited or was given a warning by YouTube when he was discussing about informed consent. Can you believe that?
Informed consent
Yeah,
is the very basis of patient-centered medicine.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah, he was given a warning that it's gonna be taken down, or at least that segment where he discussed that. And he said it's against the community standard. So YouTube and Facebook are still doing the same thing. I
Yeah.
know
So
they're
the, the problem is that new parents don't know about the
mm,
hepatitis B vaccine, so they don't know that it's going to be given to their child
yeah.
automatically. No one tells you anything. Maybe some people
Mm,
have a pediatrician who will tell them, but my obstetrician didn't tell me anything for my oldest daughter.
yeah.
And so yeah, I had no idea. And she has very severe asthma.
Wow.
She has.
Yeah.
I just had blood tests for her. Her eosinophils are double normal,
Mm-hmm. And
so
and
she's got ongoing allergic stuff happening.
yeah, for those people who don't know, for the listener, maraming salamat po sa panunod nyo ngayon. Uh, for those of you who don't know why we are discussing hepatitis B, why it doesn't make sense for the newborn, for the baby to receive the hepatitis B. Ang dahilan po niya, number one, ang hepatitis B, how do you get that infection? You get
It's
it,
sexually transmitted.
yeah,
It's from
sexually
sex, or
transmitted by
it's
needle.
from blood
Uh-huh.
transmitted.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense for the baby to get that, and yeah, and that's why for the just imagine you're giving it when the baby is what 1 day old or a few days
Yeah,
old. It's
as soon
only,
as they're born. No, it's given immediately upon birth.
but it's
And the
amazing.
problem is the parents have no idea what's normal for their
Yeah.
child at that point. And the hepatitis B
So
is very much associated with allergic reactions like asthma,
yeah,
like eczema, atopic conditions. So yeah,
yeah.
that's all my daughter got, and she has very severe asthma. We
So
deal with it every single day because I
so what
didn't
do you?
know. So that's my
How
fault.
come, Sally? I don't understand how these people are getting away with it. But
They just
that
do it.
yeah.
They just do
Uh,
it. The Philippines has a law. The Philippines has a law that states that all babies should be given Hep B within 24 hours of birth.
of the hepatitis B.
Yeah, the Philippines has a law. It states that all babies should be given hepatitis B within 24 hours of birth.
But that doesn't mean that you cannot refuse, right?
No, you can refuse, but if you do not refuse, it will be given. So you have to
Yeah.
know that you have. If you don't refuse, it will happen automatically. If you refuse,
Wow.
of course they will not. Hopefully, they will not give it if you know. But there is also the recommendation that you need to have somebody with your baby at all times to make sure they're not given anything you don't
Mhm.
want them to be given.
So basically, the pregnant mother should tell the doctors or the pediatrician ahead of time that she doesn't
Yes,
want the vaccine for the baby,
yes.
right?
It's an opt out. If you don't opt out, it will be given automatically. But the problem is many parents are not told that they have to opt out.
Wow. I
So
don't
it's
know.
given it's given without asking.
Yeah, these are all becoming. You see what we are finding out and discovering with all these things. That's
You know,
why
even
people should be informed properly. I mean, we
yeah,
just
I
keep
mean it is not
discussing
just
about
Hep
it.
B. In the Philippines, it's standard practice to do episiotomy when the mother is delivering. They don't ask; they just do it.
Really?
Standard practice. Yes, it's standard practice. They don't ask; they just do it.
So, sa mga nakikinig po, kailangan ano, alamin ninyo 'to. You see, I don't even know. I don't know that that is happening. Well, I didn't.
Yeah, I found out the
I was
hard
never
way. I found
hospitalized
out the
in the
hard way.
Philippines when I was
Yeah.
there. So,
So it's a very old practice, and at least when I was having my children, it hadn't been updated. Nobody talks about it; they just do it.
hmm, it's amazing. So
Yeah,
now, every
butchery,
time you go
butchery.
to the hospital, before you allow them to treat you have to tell them already. So, not only for pregnant women, but
For anything, you need to be very knowledgeable.
yeah.
So you know, they say be careful. Doctor Google, right? But I tell you, I mean, my personal experience. If I had not used Doctor Google, I would probably not be here because
Uh,
my doctors were wrong, and then I had to say you were wrong. You have to look again. So if I hadn't researched, I would not have received the right treatment.
hmm. So what about
So,
I'm just wondering, what about the tetanus? Are they giving that like
oh yeah, they
automatic?
give tetanus for everything. Okay, as soon as you go to the hospital for any type of wound of any type, even
Uh-huh.
a burn, they will offer you tetanus vaccine.
Really?
Yeah, so
Well,
I have been in the emergency room. I was cutting butter, frozen butter. I cut my finger really badly. I had to have stitches. When I was there, they offered me tetanus vaccine. I had to tell them no, I don't need tetanus vaccine. It's butter. It's not a dirty. It's not cow poop. Um, and then when I was in the emergency room, there were other people with
mhm.
injuries also being offered tetanus vaccine. So yeah, it's
Uh,
standard practice to offer tetanus vaccine for any injury of any type.
wow. Um, uh,
Mm.
and they should let the patient know because with the tetanus, I think you get more allergic or anaphylactic reaction, like right away. I never had any
Yeah,
tetanus.
I developed adult asthma after a tetanus vaccine as an adult.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I had asthma as a child, and it went away. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had an injury. I got bitten by my dog and whatever, and I didn't do rabies or anything, but they wanted to do tetanus, and I didn't know, so they did tetanus shot. After that, I had asthma again.
Sally, but I think, with all these things that we've been discussing, it's turning out or it's coming out to be that we really have to review all the vaccines now, not just like
We really
COVID.
do. I mean, this
Uh,
you have to look at what is the actual risk. I mean,
yeah,
tetanus is a serious illness, but it is treatable. But most people living in Metro Manila are not at risk of tetanus.
mm-hmm,
We're just not because we're not in an environment where we would be exposed to tetanus. But then you look
yeah,
at the side effects, and the
yeah,
side effects is autoimmune disease.
yeah. So we've been saying this all along. It doesn't matter what vaccine. Yeah, the risk or the real problem with autoimmunity is a big issue. So it doesn't matter. In the past, I keep on telling everyone one of the major thing that is happening with the COVID vaccine, even though you don't have the acute reaction to it, like anaphylactic reaction, or it can cause blood clot, myocarditis, and stuff. But the autoimmunity is really a very big issue. If it's happening sporadically, or not as often in another vaccine, the COVID vaccine is doing it really so bad, or the COVID vaccine is causing the autoimmune diseases in a much more common uh, rate or occurrences, whereas the other vaccine, I think, and it doesn't matter. The more vaccines, whatever it is that you take, your risk for developing autoimmune disease goes up.
increases.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have been injured by a COVID vaccine and you don't know about it, and then you get another vaccine, then that may trigger the acute reaction.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, I cannot say it's related. This is a case study, okay? My kid's classmate, 16-year-old kid, she's been absent from school for 3 weeks with heart pain, chest pain. And now she's back at school. She has heart inflammation, no exercise at
Mhm.
all. So, this kid would have had COVID vaccine, but we don't know what triggered now she's in a acute cardiac um, failure, I guess. She's not allowed to do any exercise.
Mhm.
So she
Sally,
can't even
do
walk
you,
up the stairs with her bag.
Sally, do you know Dr. Paul Offit? Do you know
Oh,
him?
yes, of course we know Paul Offit, Mr. Vaccine Man.
Yeah. I was watching an episode of this other doctor from California, Dr. Z Dog, but that's
Yeah,
not his real name. And they're still promoting even the COVID vaccine to the kids.
even
It's
now?
amazing. Yeah, even
Okay,
now. And they're
wow.
trying to justify. Actually, what's interesting about that show is the two of them, Dr. Z Dog and Offit, were attacking RFK like crazy, attacking RFK, and they still call him conspiracy theorist,
Huh.
and that he's a lying whatever, and it was disgusting. The two of them, I couldn't help not to comment, but I think they took down my comment because it was very long.
Uh, yeah, the harm that is happening, there is no,
Yeah.
it's the dam wall has already broken. So
Yeah.
these people who are denying harm, their time is limited. Their time is limited.
Yeah, it finally,
And
huh?
we have to look at what's happening with Aaron Siri, the lawyer of the Children's Health Defense, and all of the work that they're doing. It's really just a matter of time. And
Yeah.
all we can say to every one of our listeners, please inform consent. Do not be bullied into anything that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
You have the right to say yes or the right to say no. So please stand firm in what you personally want. Everything you do has consequences.
Yeah. Sally, there is, I can see some of the comments here,
Yes.
and somebody is asking or making a comment that, Robert F. Kennedy is not a doctor. Why is he being considered for the position? So, what can you say about
Ah,
that?
well, I mean, if you look at all of the people who have previously been in that position, they haven't been doctors. But Robert Kennedy is a lawyer, and he has been dealing with environmental and health issues for decades. And he is
Mhm.
also one of the, I think he's the founder of Children's Health Defense, and he's working with a legal team that is looking at the
Mm.
consequences. So I think he's probably better qualified than nearly anybody who's previously held that post.
Yeah, and he had so many cases actually that he won in the past regarding the effect
Yeah.
of vaccines, and so he's well informed. You guys, I would encourage
Extremely.
you. Yeah, I would encourage you
Um,
to read his book, The Real Anthony Fauci. There's a lot of
yes,
information, and he's got
and
references there like crazy.
please get on X. Please get on X and follow him. If you get on X and follow him, you're going to see all of the latest news and all of the
Yeah,
information. I'd
yeah.
also recommend to all of our listeners you subscribe to the highwire.com. They have a once a week newscast, and you will learn so much. You will
Who
learn
was
so
that?
much about what's really going. The High Wire with Del Bigtree every Friday morning Philippines
Oh, okay,
time.
okay,
You can listen to
okay.
the High Wire, and you will learn
Mhm.
so much. Um,
Yeah,
during the pandemic, I listened every single Friday. I listened to them, and it really helped me to learn a lot. And then after their live cast every Friday, usually by Tuesday the following week, they'll send you all of the links so that you can read everything that they've talked about, and you can make your own
mhm,
decision about whether you
mhm.
want to believe or not believe. So it's really very, very important that we don't just accept information at face value. We have to read it for ourselves, evaluate it for ourselves.
Yeah. And let me ask you something. Do you have, because I see a lot of like so-called walking pneumonia here. How is it in the Philippines? How is it in Manila?
I think there's a lot of cases now. I don't. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not hands on. But there's a
Mhm.
lot of people sick at the moment. Everywhere you go, there's people coughing and spluttering,
Yeah.
um, and we're seeing a lot of deaths here. Again, we're seeing a lot of a lot of respiratory. I have some of my colleagues that they have parents currently in the hospital. There's also cases, many cases of cancer, and some of them
Oh
are
my.
single
Yeah.
family, have multiple members with cancer at the same time. So yeah, we're in a bit of a really challenging situation at the moment with
Mhm.
illness.
Is there any statistic on that? How's the cancer in the
No,
Philippines, and
not
what age
not
group is
available
affected?
yet. Not available for 2023. We can see that the cancers have gone up, and also the pneumonia cases have gone up, but we don't have any
Mhm.
useful data yet for 2024. Not yet.
Uh, Sally, when it comes to the walking pneumonia, we call it. It's walking pneumonia because the patient is not, I mean, is sick enough, but not very sick, okay? Like walking
Mm.
pneumonia because they're walking. And
Yeah, yeah. They're sick. They're sick and spreading it, but they're not. They're not home in bed.
yeah, but if you take the chest X-ray, you can see there's really pneumonia. It's on both sides. So, I have another theory about that. That this is not
Yeah,
just like a regular bug infecting you, because when we say walking pneumonia for everyone, walking pneumonia, we also call it atypical pneumonia, meaning
yeah,
it's not the usual pneumococcal pneumonia, streptococcal pneumonia, but these are the pneumonia that is caused by, like, let's say, mycoplasma, legionella, those atypical organism, we call them. And I think at one point last year, people are coming out with white lung, right? I think this is
yes,
another modification of that. But yeah, there could be some bug, and usually it's a viral. It starts with a viral infection, and then it goes there. But I think, okay, this is also an autoimmune condition, Sally, because when they get, and by the way, guys, the COVID is testing positive when you just test it like the PCR or the rapid test that they're doing. I mean, I see so many negatives, and then later on, I test their blood. It's positive, the antibody for COVID. goes up so high, and I
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
test
there's a
them.
lot of cases.
Yeah, they're negative. They're testing negative on the rapid test for COVID. Anyway, going back to
Yeah,
the
but there's also positive. I'm
yeah,
also hearing of people locally who are testing positive for COVID.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, so
So
Dennis
going
spoke
back to
better.
the like a typical pneumonia, I think it's an autoimmune response. For those people who were vaccinated and who had infection of the COVID in the past, I really feel that it is an autoimmune process, and it's affecting the lungs. So it's a combination, and a lot of these people who got vaccinated, we've been discussing this, that the immune system is actually very low and suppressed. And it's a combination of immune deficiency and as well as autoimmune problem. That's what I see in the super majority of the cases or of the patients that I see here in Florida. Okay, Sally,
We're
you have
also
saying
hearing of a lot of infections. For
of
example, like
what?
kids, we're hearing of a lot of infections. Like children are having dengue, serious dengue, and dying
Oh,
from dengue.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just heard today two children in a local school just died from dengue, grade one children.
Mm.
And that shouldn't really be happening because the Philippines is quite good at treating dengue, actually.
Yeah.
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 So
So, yeah, if
Dennis has
everybody
asked, where do we
can,
just subscribe to the High Wire? I'll just tell Dennis, please Google thehighwire.com, thehighwire.com, and you will get to their platform, www.thehighwire.com, and you will be able to see their weekly live casts. It's well worth listening to. So, and then you can subscribe, and you'll get their weekly newsletter as well.
hmm
Okay, sorry.
um,
Keep going,
uh,
Doc.
yeah, I just want to say thank you to the people who are watching right now. They're saying good evening and all. Yeah, I think I know familiar names here. I can see familiar names. Thank you for joining us tonight. I know we're discussing about American
Well,
figures here, but the reason for that is because it has a big implication when it comes to how we're going to deal with this worldwide. Alam niyo naman, the America, kung ano pong ginagawa natin dito, then it kind of just overflows. And Sally, do
yes.
after this, just a comment, after Trump won, the I don't know, the feeling or the energy just changed. It's like I can breathe better.
Yeah, and we know that Trump is currently actively trying to intervene to stop World War III with
Yeah, that's right. Oh
Ukraine
my
and
god.
Russia. Um,
Oh my
you
god.
know,
Oh my god.
I mean, this is every day we look at the news feed and what's happening, um,
Mhm.
particularly now with Russia and the threat of nuclear war, because the
Mhm.
U.S. literally declared war on Russia by
Yeah.
allowing the use of long range missiles by Ukraine into Russia.
Yeah. I think these people are not exiting without doing something really bad.
Yeah,
It's like that's going to be their
agreed.
legacy. World War III. Oh, we're talking World War III now. It's just like
Yeah.
it's a real thing, or it's a clear and present
Well, I
danger.
mean, we've been
Yes.
in World War III since March 2020. It's just that
Yeah.
most people didn't realize that we're in a war. But now there's really a threat of nuclear war with Russia, and it's been
Yeah.
provoked by the US.
This is the closest that we ever get to that. No, it's really a clear and present danger. People are really getting. These
It's
people are really getting desperate.
nobody
Yeah,
nobody wins in a nuclear war. Nobody
yeah.
wins. It's like,
Nobody.
Pelosi and Clinton and Obama. They said, "Oh, we didn't win, so we're going to make sure everybody loses."
Yeah,
I mean, this is the
it's
lowest
really,
humanity. Really, it's just abysmal.
this is so vicious. No, it's not just vicious. This is really evil, because
Yes.
they're not gonna exit without, I don't know, without causing too much destruction.
Yeah.
So
So
we're kind of we're we're, we're kind of all over the place, but it's just very interesting to discuss about these things, because that's World War III. Everybody needs to prepare. Oh my God. Or
how do you prepare for nuclear war?
yeah, how
There
how do
is, I
you?
mean, the regular people cannot prepare for nuclear war. We
Yeah.
cannot.
Oh my God.
We cannot escape that. So,
So
I think we have to pray for peace.
yeah,
I mean,
I
we
was
in the
gonna say that.
Philippines, we can't do anything except pray.
Yeah.
In the US, I mean, we've heard from Alex Jones that President Trump is conducting peace talks between Russia and the US, Russia and
Hmm.
Ukraine. And there's also talk of impeachment of Biden and Kamala Harris because their conduct at this point is outside
Hmm.
the law. I think they're talking about Article 25 of the US Constitution when the US
Yeah.
president is incapacitated or not acting appropriately, the Congress can override them. So, I think we all have to pray that there is some rationality happening behind the scenes.
Uh, Sally, have you guys seen Biden lately? Oh my God. I don't know how we can. He needs to, he
He
needs to
needs to
be,
go to his old people's home and retire.
he,
He's
he needs,
already demented. He needs to go to a locked facility that will look after him in his end of days.
that's right. I don't know. It's so pitiful. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, I
it's
think
so
he's
pitiful. He
signing
is the
away things that he doesn't even know what he's doing, what he's
well,
signing.
he's clearly not the president of the US. So who is who is calling the shots? And
Yeah. Yeah,
we know
somebody
that it
else.
should be Clinton and Obama.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I,
what
I,
everybody says. Clinton and Obama are calling the shots behind the scenes.
yeah. I think the current Democratic Party should be dismantled and they should start over again. It's beyond recognition
Yeah.
already. I mean, they have completely lost control, I think, and lost sight. And there are things that are getting destroyed. They should go with the flow, just get destroyed and then start over. But anyways, um,
Yeah. So, do you think there's any chance that Trump will come in earlier? If they impeach Biden and Kamala Harris, maybe Trump could be already inaugurated earlier.
but if Biden is out, then Kamala will take over. Is that the
No,
case?
not actually. I mean, what I've been looking is that even the vice president is a figurehead. It's actually up to Congress.
Yeah. Oh,
It's up
okay.
to Congress. It's
So
not. I mean, Kamala Harris couldn't do anything. She's useless.
yeah, yeah, and it's a very I don't know. We all sound like conspiracy theorists, but the things that we're
It's not.
discussing,
It's not conspiracy, unfortunately.
they become like they're happening and all that. It just they sound so bad and so unreal, and then here you are. Oh, by the way, it's happening. What we were uh, they consider them misinformation, disinformation, and we're all conspiracy theorists. But here it is. Things are happening the way that we are, looking at it, and the way that we are discussing them. So, anyways, um, do we have slides? Or Sally, do you have anything that is
Let's see. I think there were some
that
slides.
is good
Francis,
for you to
can we? Here
present?
we
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
Okay, this is an
let's
excellent
do that.
RFK
Let's do
again.
that.
Okay, the principal objective of the FDA is to serve the mercantile interests of pharmaceutical companies. So that is true. Even in the Philippines, we have to look at, we have the FDA approves the product and they also police the product, which is
Yeah.
a conflict of interest. You cannot have the same agency approving and policing. It's the fox guarding the hen house, and that's what's happened in the US. And in
Yeah.
Australia, they have the TGA, that's the Therapeutic Goods and they receive nearly all of their funding from pharmaceutical companies. So how
That
can
is
they
the big, that's
police?
the problem. That's the big problem,
Yeah,
Sally. And for
how
those
can
of
they
you,
police the companies that give them their income?
yeah. I mean,
There's
how
a
can
mass
it
conflict of
become,
interest.
is it, how can it become independent when they are funded by the very, by the very people or groups,
That they're
organizations,
supposed to police.
institutions that they are trying to regulate? It's amazing. It's
It
a
is,
conflict
and
of interest
it's
left
a
and right. Yeah.
complete failure of the systems. And if we get the
Hmm.
chance to rewrite how things are done, we need to separate the approval process from the monitoring process. There needs to be completely separate agencies.
They all need to be fired and then start fresh, but which is
Well,
gonna happen anyways. Yeah.
apparently, a lot of people are jumping ship in the US FDA, knowing that Trump is and RFK is coming on board. They're leaving before they can get fired.
Yeah. Well, it's okay for them to leave, but keep the files and the papers and the documents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Don't allow anything to be deleted. Okay, now, we have a video. Is there a video here? Francis,
Uh,
let's play your video. 2 minute and 22-second video. Let's go. Francis?
yeah.
Not happening yet.
Hmm.
It says we have a video.
Pharma.
There we go.
And this is about vaccines. You say that the government regulators have been bought off by big pharma. I think that's what you're saying when you say that this entanglement has occurred. You said agency employees are actually getting royalties, getting payments on vaccines and drugs that they approve. Is that true?
Yes, there's a couple things happening. For example, the Moderna vaccine. NIH owns half of that vaccine, 50%. So the billions of dollars that that vaccine makes, half of that goes to NIH, the agency, but there's also individuals, at least four, and maybe six individuals who work for NIH who are high-level deputies under Anthony Fauci who get to collect $150,000 a year forever, not just for their lives, but their children. As long as that mRNA technology is on the market, they're going to be making money from it.
Okay,
And that is a conflict.
hang on a minute now, because I don't want to blow by this too fast. So the National Institute of Health is getting a kickback, a bribe, a royalty, a share, whatever you want to call it. Is this not a clear conflict of interest?
Yes.
That's what you're pointing out, right?
Yeah, it is. People are shocked.
Okay, why are you the only one talking about this?
If you talk about this kind of thing, you get censored on YouTube. You will not be allowed on the mainstream media to talk about these issues. It used to be that you could, and nowadays you cannot. With FDA, about 50% of FDA's budget comes from regulated industries, so mainly the pharmaceutical industries. You have agency capture on steroids. The principal objective of FDA today is to serve the mercantile interests of pharmaceutical companies. And that's why you see FDA not only approving all of these drugs that shouldn't be approved, but they also are, out to destroy things that are actually shown to be good for you that do not make profits for the pharmaceutical companies.
Oh wow! Can you? You see, it's not only our informed consent, that is really not being, honored, or nobody wants to give you informed consent. But look at this. This is a conflict of interest that I don't know if there's a law in the Philippines when it comes to that. Like, let's say, for example, here as a practicing physician, I cannot, what do you call this? I cannot accept money from the pharmaceutical company, or at least the farm. As far as I understand, they were not regulated, but the pharmaceutical companies actually self-regulated, quote unquote. But yeah, so they're telling us that they cannot give us, I don't know, whatever it is, donation or any money coming from them. The best that they're giving us right now, and we have to sign for it, is what do you call this? The lunches, or sometimes dinner, and then it's capped. They cannot spend more than $150, Sally, more than $150 per physician. But I don't know if that
Wow.
is being followed. But that's here, okay, in the US. That's the most that they can give us. Even the samples that they are giving us, the samples of medication when they come to the office, it's now being, restricted or limited. They used to come to my office like a lot, this pharmaceutical companies, and they would give me like gazillion of samples. Now they come and then they'll give me 3 pieces of the drug they're promoting, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is something new. And
Okay, I think it's pretty. I don't know for a fact, but I think in the Philippines it's probably relatively flexible on what they can do. I don't know how they monitor here,
yeah, oh,
but
I, I heard they're doing a lot more in the Philippines because it's not regulated. I
I'm
mean,
sure they can. I'm sure they can give things. I mean, before when I would see my doctor, he would give me so many medications free that he got from the pharma reps. He
yeah.
said, "Okay, this
Uh,
is what you need here. I already had so many in my fridge. Take some."
Sally, remember Dr. Lechon last year?
Oh
It was
yes, Tony
last year.
Lechon. Yes.
And he's supposed to be exposing these people selling the specific, I don't know, drug, and then the doctors were getting a kickback or something. He was
Yeah, he's
exposing
been
these
very
people.
quiet
I don't know what
recently.
happened to that. Huh?
It's been very quiet. But I understand he was working for Pfizer Philippines or something. He was
Yeah.
also, it's a revolving door in many places where the doctors work for the companies, and then they get incentives.
Yeah.
I know I've talked to people who have worked in drug companies here, and the whole family gets international trips abroad as their bonus.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of incentives for selling products.
So the Philippines is more, I think, it's that practice of giving incentive or giving something to the doctors is, I think, more rampant than in
Yeah.
America. They have
I
a way
think they
of
can get
doing.
away with things. They can still get away with things here in the Philippines. Are not so
Yeah.
strongly. Things are not so strongly controlled here.
Mhm.
I think it depends more on the ethics of the doctor, what they will or won't accept.
Mm. So, yan,
Okay.
naiintindihan niyo yung mga doktor niyo diyan. Ewan ko kung ano mga pinaggagawa. These are the things that, Herbosa, I think, should look into, as a Department of Health secretary, which is, yeah, basically, Dr. Bosa is the equivalent or the counterpart of RFK, in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
what is this?
he's quite busy. He's quite busy because the Philippines has been appointed as president of the Asia Pacific
Oh,
UN
really?
group. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
we
I
kind
think
of
he's quite busy. Yeah. Anyway, so
mentioned
this
last
this
time.
so this slide says RFK Jr. and Elon Musk want to ban pharma ads. So in the US, you have massive amounts of pharmaceutical ads. We don't have that in the Philippines. So
Also,
we don't have
you guys
television ads.
you don't advertise, or you do?
No, we don't see pharma ads on television like you have in the US.
Ah, okay. Well,
Okay,
here
so
it's
this is
left
a
and
US
right.
thing. Yeah, in
And
Australia also no pharma ads on TV.
yeah. So why do you think this should be removed? I think there are only two countries in the world that are doing this. I think US is one, and what's the other one? New Zealand or something?
I don't know, but it's
Yeah,
not
one of the
Australia.
Scandinavian countries, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but
Allow
I
drug
can only
because
vouch.
this sort of advertising means that patients will demand drugs from doctors rather
Yeah,
than because they've seen it on television.
yeah. It's those patients are all for a quick fix, and then
Yeah,
they come to the doctor because they saw it on TV or on the on the ads that. That this drug can do this and it's going to save me, blah blah blah. And yeah, it's very
yeah,
difficult, it's very powerful when you put it on television or in the mainstream media. But the good news
yeah,
is, I think the mainstream media is either agonal, it's dying. We cannot trust them anymore. And a lot of people realize it now that we cannot trust the mainstream. They're captured, just like all these government officials. They're all captured. They're all paid by the pharmaceutical companies. So if we do something at the level of the masses, that we say something about this pharmaceutical company, we try not to use them. Eventually it's going to have a profound effect. That we can there's a hope that we can actually shift the or we can change the situation
we
we're
can shift the
in.
narrative.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think to me it's very unethical I mean, for them to do this, advertising, the advertisement of their product directly to the people when they don't understand what these drugs, can do. But Sally, a lot of the people are really waking up now, and they don't fall for what the commercials are doing. At least here in America, that's what I am seeing. And before they even, like, let's say, for example, one drug is being advertised, and my patient um, would ask me because the daughter or the son is sick, and they would ask me, actually, Dr. Villa, this medication is being planned to be utilized to my daughter who has cancer or what have you. And they're asking for my opinion, and these are the parents of the sick people. And I try to tell them and advise them what I know about, the drug or the medication. I tell them what I don't like about the pharmaceutical company, which is another issue, is the studies that they do. They manipulate it like crazy, to make it appear that the drug they are pushing on you is actually good. They've the first one that I can, or the first thing that I can emphasize to you is when they're using, the relative risk to make the drug, um, uh, to make it appear that it is safe again and effective by using the relative risk. instead of actually uh, giving you the absolute one and the absolute risk. And that's what they've done to all this vaccine. So if you look at the paper they publish about this vaccine, or even a lot of the drugs, when they're using the relative risk um, uh, factor there, then the drug will really come out to be safe and effective. So they're using the same formula. So you have to doubt everything that these drug companies are actually saying. I know they create powerful agents or powerful substances that they offer as a cure, but we need to, you know, to question that, because in the long run, like, they always tell us that the vaccine is saving life and making our kids healthy. But now, after how many years, we realize after 20 years, 30 years, and all our babies, our children
Have
are
so many
sick
health
with the
issues.
vaccine. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, so many of our children have health issues now.
Yeah.
We need to be very, very skeptical. And we
Mhm.
have to understand that health doesn't come from drugs or injections. Health comes from lifestyle
Yeah.
and environment.
So you guys have to realize this, that the chronic diseases right now are not confined to the older population. And 30, 40 years ago, when you talk about chronic diseases, automatically you think about our seniors. But now it's across the board. The kids, the our working or our workforce, everybody. It's from end to end. There's nobody is spared. The chronic diseases are really, that's the real pandemic. The chronic diseases,
Yeah,
Sally.
correct. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
The
the
children who
real.
are so sick. The
Mhm.
babies who have asthma already at 1 year of age.
Yeah,
I have friends in the Philippines. Their baby, 1 year old, in the hospital
yeah,
now with asthma. This
yeah.
should not be. This should not be.
We should not be. Everything that we see right now, everything is like abnormal. I mean, they're gonna normalize that every kid that they vaccinate, every child,
Every
or
child is
the,
sick. Every child is
yeah.
sick.
I
And
mean,
every child is dependent on
everything.
drugs for health to stay
Yeah,
alive.
yeah. So I agree with you, Sally, that this is business model on steroid, or it was
Yeah.
actually, it was mentioned on the conversation between Dr. Phil and RFK. Everything is on steroid.
Yep.
It's like, uh, the kickbacks set up for kickbacks are on, is on steroid. The way they make the people sick so that they continue to make money off of these drugs that they're putting out there. I mean, everything is on steroid. The way that they systematically make the population sick, the food, the way they make or manufacture the food now, it should not be manufactured. There's only one thing that should manufacture food, and that's our plants, not the food, you know, m-
Yeah.
companies that make food.
Our food should not come from a factory. It should come from a farm.
Yeah. It's, it's amazing manufacturing food, really. And then when you read the label, they add 5 or 6 more ingredients that's making the food like. It's not food anymore.
Yeah,
When
correct.
you look at the
Your chicken
label.
is not chicken. Your fish
Yeah,
is not fish. Your carrots are
yeah,
not carrots. They have multiple ingredients.
yeah,
Everybody has to get back to food that looks like food.
We have to all get back to the real food. It should come from the soil or from the land that we will live on, you know, and it
Yes.
should not come out of the factory and things like that. We should, you should get your own, you know, the farm animals that you can uh, raise and grow yourself so that you can have a like a safer source of food. And so you see, they're all kind of connected. They're doing things in all this industries that are making us all sick. Well, even you see, you guys, when I buy my food, I really do my best to get to get the organic or be as organic as possible. Even that, I am really I'm questioning that if I'm really getting some organic produce, right? So because if you
Yeah.
go to the regular what do you call this supermarket here in the US, the organic produce is only on one side, on one little corner, and then that's it. Whatever they have there, that's all you have. But you know, that is in a regular supermarket. There are some stores now that are coming out, and one of them is actually Sprout. I don't know if you guys have it there, but they're supposedly, the products that they sell there are supposed to be healthier compared to the regular supermarket. So, I'm going to tell you, like in the Philippines, it's easier for you guys. Mas madaling kumuha ng pagkain na malinis dyan sa Pilipinas kumpara dito sa Amerika. It is, yeah, it's easier for you guys to get the food or like the safer ones compared to what we have here.
Sorry, I don't understand.
You see, it's listening to me. No, I don't need you. My phone just say, I don't understand. Siri, can you believe that? I didn't do anything. Siri was listening or is listening.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're listening. The phones are listening.
Yeah.
Okay, next
So,
slide. What's our next slide? Let's see.
yeah. Is there any,
Here
do
we
we
go.
have,
This
okay.
is Paul Rand. Maybe Doc, you can comment on this to target COVID cover up. Well, I mean, there's breaking news out of Germany that there's been a whistleblower that has revealed a lot of communication between the government during the
Mhm.
pandemic. And it's been revealed that the pandemic was totally political and it was orchestrated at a military level, not at a medical level. Um, so, and it was very clear there was no pandemic in 2020. It was orchestrated. That there wasn't a wave of sickness.
Yeah. Well, it's all coming out, if there's anybody who's gonna go after Fauci, actually, it's this guy here, Senator Rand
Okay,
Paul.
and Paul Rand. Yeah,
He's the
Paul Rand
one.
is the dog. He's the dog on the tail of Fauci.
Yeah. Remember all the Senate hearing when it comes to
Yes,
like the
excellent
origin
hearings.
of the what do you call this? The origin of the virus. He was the one who was like interrogating Fauci. That was very uncomfortable moments in the Senate. He was the one who grilled Fauci, you know. And yeah, if there's anybody who's gonna sue him, it's gonna be this guy. I think not RFK. I mean, he could be like a witness or something or an expert witness, but Ron Paul is the one who's been uh,
Yeah, I think to get
itching to get him.
correct.
Yeah. So, um, Yeah, that's the one. Well, it's about time for us to really. You know what they want to do is or what they want to happen is for us to forget about what happened during the pandemic and this whole thing.
We
They
cannot
just
forget.
want us to forget about it, and we should not. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, there's another slide that we have. Anything else, Francis? These are all about the US, no? Uh,
Yeah,
oh,
this is the
this is
Philippines.
Philippines. So,
There's local governments calling for meningococcal vaccine to be added to the national immunization program, meaning it would be provided by the government.
mm-hmm.
And they're
Really?
claiming they're claiming that meningococcal disease has a greater than 50% death rate.
Um,
Is that true, Doc? Meningococcal?
well, yeah, the meningococcal infection has very high mortality rate, but is it? Do you have increasing or do you have increased rate of the cases of?
We haven't been able to see the data easily. I have been monitoring the epidemiological bureau, and they're not releasing the data on this, so I haven't been able to assess if it's increasing or not. But we do know that infectious diseases across the board have increased in 2023.
Yeah.
And I think the infectious disease increase is probably related to of course, the suppression of immune system after
Mm.
78% of the population were injected.
Yeah, because they can easily spin this again that the mortality rate is very high.
Yes.
But do you have cases coming out? They're not gonna lie about
I
uh,
think there's a small number of cases,
yeah.
small numbers of cases, probably like
So
less than 100. We have a population in the Philippines of 110, 112 million. So,
wow.
from what I've seen, maybe less than 100 cases.
So
Yeah.
I mean they're gonna promote this again based on the fact that the mortality rate of this disease is high.
It's
Once
high.
you develop meningitis or uh, encephalitis or combination, yeah, it's true. It's very high mortality rate. But how often? What is the rate of
Well,
meningococcal
in
infection?
the Philippines, most people cannot access tertiary medical care.
Yeah.
Most people can only, access primary medical care, and if they have a serious illness, it's bad luck. Once you're
Mm-hmm.
outside of Metro Manila or outside of Metro Cebu or outside of, any of the big metropolitan areas, the hospitals don't have comprehensive treatment available.
Yeah. So where are you gonna get the vaccine if it's going to be available or it's going to be deployed in the Philippines? Where do
Usually,
you guys get the vaccine?
I think in many cases the vaccines are sourced via the WHO.
Oh,
Like
really?
the pediatric vaccines have all been sourced via the WHO, and many of them have come out of India, India Serum Institute, which is where the WHO has approved the vaccines from. So
Yeah.
I don't know where they got the meningococcal vaccine from. In the Philippines, in the last week, I know that they've been. I visited some of the markets, like Salcedo Market last weekend. They
Mhm.
were injecting vendors with pneumonia vaccines on site.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never recommended this vaccine, honest to goodness. I don't even think about this because when was the last time I encountered that? I encountered a case of meningitis, meningococcal meningitis. Was I was still in training, and we we treated. What was that? I think it was a pregnant woman. I was in residency, and that was like a long time ago. Oh my
Mm.
God! Like many years ago. I've never recommended this vaccine, so you guys have to be. Yeah, have to be very vigilant.
I understand that this vaccine is associated with adverse reactions as well, which can include
Yeah,
meningococcal disease. Um,
yeah,
None of these products come without side effects. And
yeah,
the most important
absolutely,
thing that we can
absolutely.
all do for our health is vitamin D levels, nutrition, sleep, etc.
Yeah. We need to find out where is the source. Who's going to give that to the Philippines? That's going to be $1 million question. Where are they getting it? From the who?
Yeah, I don't know where they got this one from, but they get a lot of their vaccine from the WHO.
Yeah. So, mga kababayan, tingnan nyo ito ha. Baka mamaya ipilit na naman sa inyo to. You have to be very vigilant. No, I'm gonna remind you guys. Refuse in the beginning. There's nothing wrong, refusing whatever it is that you're not, sure about. Especially, I cannot trust the pharmaceutical company anymore. Oh my God, it's amazing. I mean, even though I use, repurposed drugs, and then, mostly the generic ones, I cannot, my patients here in the US, you cannot just get them off the medications, Ali, because it's way too many. It's like coming to me, one person has minimum four to five
Wow.
drugs, because they're coming from other doctors, and then sometimes I have an entire page, like a list of medication, and I'm like, oh my God,
So
you cannot
you
just get
have
them
drugs
off.
that you have drugs to counter the side effect of other drugs. So you
Yeah,
have to do the whole process of de prescription and
yeah,
weaning off drugs to find out what they really actually need.
yeah. It's like detoxifying them. Yeah, I do it slowly, because I think, especially for the old people, it's dangerous to just take them off of that, because even though they are not the same as the, pain medication or sedatives,
Yeah.
that you really have to be very careful and get them off of that, or you have to first you have to wean down and then off, because like it's expected, in the sedatives or pain medication, the opiates, you're running the risk of like bad withdrawal or severe withdrawal when you just discontinue that. And this non-narcotic medication, yung mga regular pong medication, the non-narcotic medication, if they've been using it for years, you cannot just discontinue that, because even if they say, oh, it doesn't have withdrawal symptom, but Sally, by experience, even though whatever you call that, but it's a form of withdrawal, because the body is so used to it for years. And so if you, like, let's say, for example, blood pressure medication, you just discontinue, you're gonna have a rebound. You're gonna have and it happens like within few days, and you can see the blood pressure is very high. And so you need to do it slowly, or you replace them with another blood pressure medication that's supposed to be, or based on your determination, is less harmful. But still, you have to see the patient more often, and you have to reassess them more often, as opposed to like, okay, I'm going to give this to you, discontinue that medication, I'll give you a new one and come back in 3 to 4 months. No, you can't do that. If the patient has been taking the other blood pressure medication for years, like we're talking about, I get this, people taking uh, blood pressure medication or whatever medication it is for 10 years, 15 years. It's amazing. And you cannot just discontinue that. And I'm going to tell you, I keep on saying this over and over again. These people who are polypharmacy, they're taking so many medication. A lot of times we don't know, you can't tell anymore which one is the side effect or complication of the treatment, because they have so many, and the actual disease or the original disease. And so, they put you in a situation wherein after taking these agents for a while, another disease comes out. And what is it? It's actually the side effect of the combination of medication that you're taking. And so, I'll go back to the detox, this event that we're doing, that the World Council for Health, Florida Detox and Wellbeing. I know we will not have all the answers, but it is very important to raise the awareness that it's really time for us to minimize using the pharmaceutical agents, because that's not it's beyond unnatural. But this combination of drugs that people are taking actually causes this combination of drugs, it actually causes other diseases. And so the best thing to do is not to get started with it, but actually analyze and really get to the root of the disease that you are presenting to your doctor. Because, you know, it's very simple. Sometimes it's just a matter of like having deficiency of something. And usually, like deficiency of vitamin D, your bones are achy, your muscles are achy, and you can't think clear. And you know what? You're just very deficient on vitamin D for so long, and your body is now screaming, "Hey, I can't take it anymore. I cannot function well because you're not giving me this nutrient." It's usually the micronutrients. There are so many diseases or clinical syndromes presenting like they're so bad, but when the doctor is actually looking at you and trying to analyze and trying to figure out what's happening with you, then it will come out to be like a very simple deficiency of what? Of magnesium, deficiency of calcium, or deficiency of vitamin B12. But when you go to the doctor, it's like almost like a reflex action. They give you prescription for every symptom you have. That's the kind of practice that we're seeing. And I at least here in America, it's easier to just write the prescription. Go there. Okay, go to the pharmacy. So if you practice that kind of medicine, literally it would take you 5, 6 minutes, and you're done with the patient. What do you feel? I have pain. Okay, pain medication. My blood pressure is high. Okay, we'll give you like 2 or 3 blood pressure medication, and off you go. Without asking about, oh, by the way, what you're eating. What have you been eating lately? What have you been doing lately? Nothing. It's literally 3 to 5, 6 minutes. And then the consultation is over. So is that happening in the Philippines? Because it's happening here. And then it's not only the pharmaceutical company or the pharmaceutical company that's pushing the kind of culture when we see patient, but the insurances, the medical insurances here, you know, you have to, and the way it is the insurance companies are making it the culture that they are like they're not promoting, but they are pushing us to go into is really you just see the patient for 3 minutes, like literally just signing the prescription, because we don't have a choice than to do that, because if you don't see that many patients in one day, your medical practice is not going to survive, you know. So that's the painful truth about the practice of medicine. And I hope with all these things that with the new administration, I hope it changes, because it's like doomsday. It's like doomsday every day. And you cannot, at the end of the day, you get so tired looking at or seeing all this, this patient, they are sicker, and they have so many, the medication between the sickness and the diseases that they have. I don't know how we can do them in 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes. And that's why when I see patient, instead of finishing at 5 o'clock, which is, the normal working hours, you kind of work between 8 to 5 so that you can also rest. I don't finish until 8, 9 o'clock at night, seeing patient continuously. But anyways, I think I'm
That's very
ranting
tough.
here. But that
That's
is what
very
is
tough.
happening right now,
Doc,
Sally.
in the Philippines, most people, I mean, we have PhilHealth, which is the government insurance system,
Uh-huh.
but most people do not access that system. They still have to pay by themselves. So
Yeah.
many people cannot afford adequate medical care. They cannot afford the tests. Because
Yeah.
you look at the cost, even the cost of, for example, HbA1c, the cheapest cost, maybe it's around four or five hundred
Mhm.
pesos. That's a day's salary for one person, nearly. So
Yeah.
your tests are so expensive that most people can't even do blood tests. Or if they do, it comes at great cost because the people who are better off, middle class, upper middle class, they can afford. But if you want comprehensive testing, super
Yeah.
expensive. I mean, I was
Yeah.
just looking at hormone testing. You know, 15,000 pesos for a hormone panel. That's a month's salary for people.
Oh,
So,
wow.
who can afford that? So, fortunately, you in the US, you can do testing. Here in the
Yeah.
Philippines, many people can't do testing. They just can't afford it. Um, and there's been recent newspaper articles saying that they've done research and they say that most of the healthcare burden is shouldered by individuals, by the families, meaning that
Yeah.
the government is not providing much assistance at all, despite
Oh, wow.
the ongoing health issues. So, yeah, um, a middle class family is one serious illness away from poverty in the Philippines
Mhm.
because
And
most people do not have insurance that will cover what's required if there's a serious illness.
but Sally, that's a blessing in disguise if that's the situation there, because it's easier. I guess it's going to be easier for people or for the government to uh, persuade the Filipinos to go on the natural route or use non-pharmaceutical
Well,
intervention or
the
non-pharmaceutical.
government, that's not the direction of the government at this point, but ultimately it should be.
Yeah,
Ultimately, it should be. Um, because the medical system here is so inadequate that we should be getting back to basics, nutrition, lifestyle,
yeah,
etc., and
yeah,
prevent the illnesses rather than dealing with when they've
yeah.
already happened.
You see, that is the this. If only you have good government official or health authorities, if the people are in there or in the position, it's going to be very easy for you to really devise a system that will focus on health rather than on diseases, right, Sally?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
right now, I mean, us focusing on disease is like part of the culture here. It's
Yes.
all
Yes.
about uh, profit. It's profit driven. It's like, well, how much can you make out of this disease people? You
Yeah.
probably have a lot of people also who are sick over there and they are not they cannot get the medical care that they deserve and they need. But if somebody is looking at the situation in the Philippines, really it's going to be very easy to set up the medical system that will focus on health rather than on diseases. And then
Yep.
you have so many remedies in the Philippines, and you have so many like medicinal plants that they are undiscovered because, and we
Yeah,
keep on saying this again, that you are the Philippines is one of the countries that is very biodiverse, and so there's so many things that you can tap and discover to become like, you should be able to come up with so many natural antibiotics, and they're not, we just call them antibiotics, but in reality, if you guys are eating this and consuming this herbal agents or stuff, and then really there's no reason for you to get infected, so many times, unless it's being deployed, this COVID that is highly modified, or it's a modified virus. But if it's part of the natural microbiome of the earth and microbiome of the place, us as part actually of the microbiome, we should be able to adjust to that kind of organism or bugs or bacteria without really getting sick. And it goes back to the same premise that when you have a new germ, if you call it germ, or a new bacteria, or new bacterium in your environment, the people who are going to be susceptible, this is very predictable. Tandaan niyo po, ha? This is, if there's something that you remember on this discussion today, that the people who are always vulnerable and susceptible are those people with low immune system, those people who are unhealthy to begin with. And in the Philippines, it's so easy to identify that. Uh, but but the problem is you're becoming obese, just like America. The obesity here in America is already 70%, in even 80%. That is disgusting, you know, and or at least with the metabolic, this the derangement or metabolic issues. And so, mas madaling uh, madaling. It's so easy to give the solution. I think in the Philippines, if I am analyzing it, or I'm thinking about the situation there the right way, all you need
yeah.
is
We need
that you
political
have
will and
people, good
political
people.
will, and we don't have it at the moment.
Yeah, because Sally, it's actually easy to be healthy. You take care of your environment, you take care of your lifestyle, you just eat the right food, you drink water, good,
Avoid sugar.
no
Avoid sugar.
pollution, huh?
Avoid sugar. That's a big one.
Yeah,
Avoid sugar
yeah,
and processed
part of the
foods.
food. So it always boils down to the idea is it's all about what you put in your mouth. It's very simple. Don't listen to all this people who are trying to make money off of you. Because uh, people are very good at creating certain things, conceptualizing things, and then introduce it to the population. Oh, this is going to do things to you. These are something that is going to make you a superhuman being or something. It's the ideas and the things that they are feeding you are just amazing sometimes. But uh, we will remind you all the time, if you go back to the basics, okay, like you eat good food, you get some good enough sleep, you take the natural stuff, take away the contaminated and artificial substances. Try to minimize your exposure to toxic substances. You don't have any other choice than to become healthy. And if you're healthy, your body is going to be resistant to so many diseases. especially the infection. Your body is going to kill it like very, very quickly. And if you're healthy, where is the cancer going to grow? Nowhere. Because the body, a healthy body, the cancer usually will not thrive. The body needs to be very acidic for the cancer to keep on growing and for the cancer to actually start. Yeah, and it goes back to what you said, Sally. The sugar, the and it and sugar in itself is not bad, but when we are talking about the fake sugar, the highly processed sugar, that is the problem because that's the one that's going to destroy your liver first. It is going to cause a lot of metabolic issues, and then once that's the case, then the disease, any disease, is going to be very easy to develop. And so, basic, mga kababayan, we have to go back to the basic. If you eat something that directly kinuha nyo sa lupa, yung mga tanim nyo dyan sa front yard, mga tanim nyo dyan sa sa ano yan, sa likod ng bahay nyo. Like in the Philippines, the other advantage is everything grows, Sally. I mean, you just
Everything.
put
That's
something
true.
in your front yard and it grows even without you taking care of it. So just imagine if you guys are just, taking care of that and actually grow your own food. I mean, every single family, if they grow their food like in your yards, you're gonna have enough food, and then you just you focus on that, and any kind of like the vegetables, they grow throughout. You can grow that the entire year, throughout the year in the Philippines. We can't do that here because during winter time they don't grow. It's too cold. So that's that. And uh, do we have any more? What do you call this?
I think
Slides?
there's a few more slides we can skip
Okay,
through.
let's go. And uh, oh, what's that?
Okay, this is
In the
this is a new
Philippines?
bill. Okay, yeah, this is in the Philippines. This is a House bill. This has not yet got full approval. It still has to go up to the Congress. But this bill has approved the hiring of senior citizens who want to work and are able to.
But
So
why does it have to be approved? Just work. What
no,
politics is
they're
this?
going to bring in incentives for employers who can get discounts of taxes and other things related to employing senior citizens.
Ah,
And they also removed any fees for senior citizens who need to get documents from the government.
ah,
So this
ah,
bill hasn't passed in full, but I think this is a bill that is quite necessary given the looming shortages of labor. And
mm,
also, many senior citizens in the Philippines really need to earn a living still because the cost of living and their pensions do not match.
mm. So when you
So
say senior, what age does it start?
it doesn't give an age limit. It doesn't have an age limit that I've seen, but when they bring this bill forward, we'll have to have a look at it in more detail. But it's more
Uh-huh.
about incentivizing the employment of senior citizens who want to work and are able to work.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of our seniors here, even though, they're like here in the villages, they're all active. I mean, majority of them are active. The only one of the reasons why they don't want to work anymore is because of the taxes, Sally.
Yeah, well, they have they're looking at incentives on that side. In the
Yeah.
Philippine, taxes are quite high, but I think they're looking at this to address labor shortages as well. For
Yeah.
example, in Hong Kong, when you go to any of the fast food restaurants, most of the servers are senior citizens.
Mm.
So
So
they've re-employed their senior citizens in support roles.
So what age are you supposed to retire in the Philippines, or is there?
I think it's I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's around 60 in the Philippines. But
That's really young.
yeah,
What?
exactly. A healthy 60 or 65-year-old is still well able to work if they want to.
That's right.
And many of them need to because they will not have sufficient pension funds to cover their living expenses.
Yeah. And talking about seniors, I think what was that? I think they're gonna start limiting the age of like the politician, how long you can be a senator.
Oh my gosh, they should have done this years ago.
They
How
should
old
have
is
done
Biden?
that.
Biden is what, 89, 80 something?
81, 82 or something.
This is insane. I mean, we know he's demented, but I'm sorry, even a fit, healthy 81-year-old should be working in a support role, not a leading role.
And guys, for those of you, the seniors in the
I think that's
Philippines
good.
who
Look at
are,
how old is Nancy Pelosi?
I don't know. She's like, they think they own the Congress. They think they own the Senate. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like they. How old was she when she started in in uh, in the uh, in the government? I don't know. I think she was on her 30s or something, or late
Wow.
20s.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
how
I
old is
mean,
she? She's almost
and
80. I think she's
isn't
78 or
Anthony
something.
Fauci in his 80s now?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Anthony
It's
Fauci
well
is in
time
his
he was
80s.
retired.
Oh,
We've had
wow.
enough of him. We've had what, 50 years of Anthony
Yeah.
Fauci?
Uh, this people are ridiculous. Like, let's say, what's the name? Who's the name of the Republican majority or minority leader? What's his
I
name?
heard he was over 100, 100 or something.
No. He
There's
is.
someone who's 104 they're using to block
Oh,
things.
she died. That's from California.
Oh, he died already.
She's she's not in the Congress anymore because she died. What's her
I
name?
know.
I forgot the
I
name.
mean, on one side, okay, if someone is very well and they're experienced, it's great to benefit from experience. But on the other side, when do they enjoy their retirement
Exactly.
and get out of our hair?
Um, I was gonna say, for those people, the seniors, or are the Filipinos, or even here in America, for those of you who are listening to us, we love you, but you cannot be serving forever and ever with this age, advanced age. It's not that um, this is not discrimination or anything, but coming from a physician, from somebody who's like treating the seniors here. I'm sorry to tell you, but no matter whether you like it or not, the way that the older people think is different. It's you. I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but anyways, the
Maybe
brain
it's
is
maybe
thinking.
maybe
Okay,
it's not flexible. It's not a
yeah, the
flexible way of
brain
thinking.
is shrinking, and you're gonna get to the point that no matter what you do, you're not gonna think the way you function, or your brain is not gonna function just like when you were 30 to 40 years old. I mean, there are some exceptional people. Even them, they should be given a capacity just to advise and not hold, the actual position. And Sally, believe it or not, the U.S. government is so behind when it comes to uh, what do you call this? The technology, using technology, being computerized. From uh, all these departments or something. And that's why Elon and Ramaswamy, to take over, they should make a recommendation to get this institution, the government, sectors to get computerized, or to give them the technology to be able to operate and become efficient. And then obviously people will say, that's a two-edged sword, that if they don't use it properly, then that's another way of manipulating everything, which is true. And that's why we need honest people to be serving. But what I'm saying by that, that's why they also have a crisis with this immigration, because they don't know who's in and they don't know who's out, because they're just letting everybody in, and without proper documentation. They cannot generate a list of, I mean, they have some idea that it is millions of people coming in, just because of the sheer number of people being allowed, like, every day. So, but they don't have the actual list of people who came in, because that's gonna be the, what do you call this, the challenge. Where do you find these people? Where are you going to get all these people? And then, like California, like, they said, oh, we're not going to help you, we're not going to help the administration to identify these people. The police supposedly already said, no, we're not going to help you, that's your job, the local police. And they are, this incoming administration, they're preparing, and so they're going to need the help of everyone. And um, Trump already announced that he's going to use the military to actually control this problem. But which I can remember, it was actually Ramaswamy who was very vocal about that we should use our military to control the south border rather than sending them to Ukraine. And
Uh,
so,
yeah.
anyway, that's the thing. We're talking about the senior, holding position. No matter what you say, our our function, our bodily function decline, and so you will not be able. They cannot think even forward. They cannot imagine how how the future should be with this advancing technology. Everything is changing so rapidly, and these old people in position, they cannot think. They are stuck in the past. And so, what I like about this administration now, if you look at least the members of the cabinet, they are all relatively young. They're like between 40s, and I don't know if there's somebody who's 60 years old. Oh, there is the one that Trump assigned to take on to the immigration, but I don't know. But everybody else is like relatively young. So let's see what's gonna happen. I think when it's time for you to retire, you retire. When it's time for you to actually give way, or pave the way to the next generation, you should do that. Same thing with like my profession. When I cannot keep up with what is happening, I mean, I'll be happy to stay at the background. And Sally, a lot of doctors here in America, and I know for a fact here in Florida, they resign, not resign, but they uh, retired because they cannot keep up with the what do you call this, electronic medical record. They cannot learn. And so,
Yeah. The new
they
systems, the
are,
electronic systems are very,
no, they
very
cannot
demanding.
learn. I'm telling you, I know a few. They're practicing, and then instead of coming out of the pandemic and working again, they retired. And I know a few, quite a few of them.
Okay, I
But
think we have a
you
few
know,
more slides and then we're going to finish up.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so Department of Health has conducted their school-based vaccination program. in Metro Manila, and they were very disappointed. There was quite low uptake, only a few percentage uptake, like less than 20% uptake for most. So they're going to push for catch up immunization. So there you go. There seems to be quite a lot of hesitancy around all vaccines at the moment in the Philippines. And this is the government's marketing materials. They are
Oh, wow.
educating the population that vaccines have undergone rigorous evaluation by both local and international experts. So they're pushing vaccine uptake, but it seems like the population is quite suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is very much aligned with what the WHO is pushing.
Oh, very
Mm.
much. The
That,
DOH
yeah.
is very, very closely aligned with the WHO.
Yeah, with the WHO. This is WHO. So if you believe in that corrupt organization, this is exactly what they are pushing.
And
Right
most
now
of
we need to
the
catch up.
Yeah,
So
the vaccines offered by the Department of Health are mostly from the Serum Institute of India, which are the vaccines promoted by the WHO. So the public vaccine programs are WHO-based programs.
yeah. So but yeah, suportado ang bakuna eskwela.
Hmm.
RFK is gonna have a seizure with this.
Well, it would be good. It would be good if we could actually have international experts speaking out against
Yeah.
what's happening in the Philippines, because the Philippines government and officials are all very, very much in support of increasing vaccination
Mm.
uptake for all
But,
for all people in the Philippines, seniors
but
and children.
but Sally, who's gonna pay for this? Who's paying for
Um,
this?
I don't know how they pay for it, but it's free. It's free. It's offered for free
Uh,
by the
uh,
government, which means
no,
it
it's
must be
never
paid for
free.
by tax
Yeah.
dollars or by loans, which always come with obligations.
Huh.
So yeah,
So do you
it's
think
free.
this is really free?
Yeah, it's free. It's a free program. No one pays for it. If it's by the government, it's not paid for. It's not paid for by the recipients.
Okay. Yeah. I
It's
just
like I know that the barangay was offering pneumonia vaccines to senior
Mhm.
citizens in Makati last weekend, and there was no payment involved. You just have to sign, and then you get the vaccine. Nothing else.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's paid for by somebody, but not the recipient.
Um, uh, so, but before it gets to the recipient, I mean, who's bringing the question is always who's bringing this to the Philippines? And-
I assume that most of this is via the WHO.
Oh yeah,
Most of it's via the WHO, I assume.
yeah.
When you look
So
at the source of the vaccine, like the school-based program, the MR, the product that was being used was from India, and
mhm,
that's a WHO approved product.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
that's
yeah, we're all this is the major aspect of health that is going to be heavily scrutinized here in America once the new administration
yeah.
you
And
know
we're looking forward to the flow
comes
over
in.
effect in the Philippines and
Yeah,
Australia and everywhere else.
yeah. And Sally, the more I get, this is going to be a very strong and very bad statement that I'm going to say. The more I get into this vaccine business, the more that I see it as a big scam. This industry is a scam.
Yeah.
It's a very big scam. I know, but
I
it's a
I have to
very,
agree. I have to
yeah.
agree, and I've been researching vaccines since my daughter was a baby, and she had a
Hmm.
reaction. So that's I've been researching for maybe 17 years now,
Yeah.
and even before that, I was suspicious because my personal experience meant that I was already
Yeah.
aware that vaccines didn't work as they were promoted. So, I mean,
Yeah.
really, this is the COVID vaccine situation might be a blessing in disguise
Yep.
because the topic of other vaccines has never been looked at seriously, um, by officials or by anyone else. And now that
Absolutely.
we realise that the COVID-19 vaccines were a complete scam, we start to extrapolate that and realise that, well, there might be problems with
Hmm.
other vaccines as well, and there
Yeah.
are problems
Yeah, they've been getting away with it for so long,
for
and they're
decades.
so comfortable just giving this product out there. Even let me qualify my statement that this is a scam, because even up to now, they are not providing us with the data how safe they are. The safety data uh, are not available. They're not available. I mean, they even RFK said, okay, I'm not against vaccine. I'm not saying that you them, you know, take them off the market, but give us the data and then give the people the chance to decide. Because if they give the real data, not the doctor data, okay? Because the information out there is just they're saying, okay, it's safe and you just take it and that's it. And that's and I think the very root of this is when they were given the immunity in 1986. Remember that, Sally, here in
Yes,
America,
the act.
Reagan
Yes,
signed
yes,
that
correct.
immunity, vaccine immunity for the
And
manufacturer.
that's when the vaccine program exploded.
Yeah. I mean, it's one after the other. And they can see people are just taking it. And then the manufacturer and the people who are like giving this vaccine were so comfortable because they're not going to be held liable even if somebody dies because of the vaccine. And that's exactly what is happening right now. But it's getting exposed after yeah, we call it the silver lining of the COVID pandemic, right? That
Yeah,
uh,
there's
never
it's been
been
an awakening.
scrutinized. Yeah, agree with you, Sally. It's never been scrutinized this way. We didn't look at the vaccine this way, and then everybody or a lot of people are questioning the really the safety. It has something to do with the safety. Like when it comes to efficacy, at least if nothing happens, then nothing happens. You're not dead.
Yes,
But
correct.
you're not
The
dead.
safety is a different issue.
Yeah, the most important thing is the safety. And none of this vaccine can really say. And the problem, Sally, is they're actually claiming that it's safe, and then they don't have the data. Can you believe
Yeah,
that?
which
Like
is fraud.
they said it's safe, and we are telling them no, it's not safe. We have so many cases of vaccine injury and complication. There were certain vaccine in the past that they remove it from the market after having, I don't know how many cases, a few cases out of 100,000. I mean, this one is like more than 30%, this COVID. And uh, they're, they don't see that these people who are suffering so much, you know? And then the thing is, when they deny that there is severe complication there, obviously they're not obligated to help these people. And then they also tell you, no, we didn't force you to get this stupid vaccine. It's amazing. It's really, these people are, I think, these people who are pushing the vaccine, uh, I think they are, what do you call this? Vaccine fried. The
No.
brain is fried. But anyway, that's just like
Okay,
a
so let's
side
finish
note.
up. Do you have anything you want to say to people for our finishing closing statements? We're already 10:30. Can we see if there's any comments in the chat that we need to answer, or let's finish
Oh,
up?
okay.
There's people talking about pet vaccines as well. So pet vaccines is another big topic, which is quite similar to the children vaccines as well.
yeah. Huh.
Anyway, let's finish
Where is
up.
the
Let's
comment
finish
here?
up.
Christine. I've stopped giving my dogs vaccine. The only vaccine they receive now is for the heartworm disease. But I'm taking
That's not a
that.
vaccine. That's a medication. Because
Yeah.
heartworm in the Philippines, that's transmitted by mosquitoes, and it really can be a very serious
Oh
illness
my
for dogs.
God. You see,
Yeah,
I'm not the only one who's saying scam. So,
yeah,
yeah,
it is.
uh, Christine, I agree with you that, even for animals, if they know about the complications, I mean, this is abuse, I mean, obviously for us, but also for animals. And if you can apply the same principle that, whatever we do for us, and then we have our pets, and they are part of the family, you should be treating them the same way, you
Yeah.
know
And
Make this.
there's lots of research that the
Yeah.
animal vaccines, although they tell you to do it every year, the animal vaccines that dogs receive as puppies, they already last for 7 or 8 years. So,
Wow.
many places are now saying that you do titer testing, which tests for antibodies rather than just revaccinating the pets. In the Philippines, I don't know if they provide antibody
Yeah.
testing, but
Yeah.
they do know that many of the vaccines last far longer than 1 year, and the annual vaccination is not necessary.
Hmm.
And the once a dog reaches a certain age, it's not recommended to vaccinate them anymore at all because it affects their overall health.
Yeah. Do you know what's the vaccination schedule of children in the Philippines? Because here it's horrendous.
Um, I think the vaccine schedule under the Department of Health is not very comprehensive. It's Tdap, it's MMR, but so it's quite limited if you follow the Department of Health schedule. But if you're a middle class or better and you go to a pediatrician, you'll receive a schedule that's quite similar to the US,
Hmm.
where
Really?
they use the 6-in-1 vaccines, etc. So the
Yeah.
pediatricians give far more than the minimum vaccines. The minimum vaccines here, I think it's the um, for tuberculosis. They have Hep B. They have MMR or MR, measles, rubella. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and diphtheria, tetanus. They have a few, but not as comprehensive as the US schedule.
Yeah. Here, by the time you reach what, 13 or 16, uh, uh, that kid would have already received 70 shots.
Wow. Yeah. No
By the
wonder. No
time you
wonder
receive
children
it,
are sick.
yeah, it's too much. They're making our kids, our children, like a pin cushion.
Yeah, it's because of money, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Yeah, do the math. I mean,
Yeah,
but by the time they reach what, 2 years old or at least three, they've already received. They would have received already 25 shots, Sally.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
25.
25, the antigens, because they
Yeah.
receive like I think at birth it's Hep B, at 2 months it's
Yeah.
Hep B, at 1 month it's Hep B, and then at 2 months it's 6 doses. It's six
Hmm.
doses. It can be in one shot, but it's six different antigens, and then they add a few extra. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And a baby living in a house, they're not exposed to these
Mhm.
illnesses. This is not something that they literally don't need to be protected from these when they're living in a home environment.
Yeah.
They have no risk of being exposed.
Yeah. I'm
Anyway,
and I have announced this to I've told everyone that I didn't get any vaccine, Sally. The only thing that I got when I was a kid was the BCG, which is the TB vaccine. And if
Okay.
you look at it, actually the TB is one of the beneficial one. And I have the scar to show.
Yeah.
But the beneficial effect of that, when you become an adult, is it actually reinforces your T cells. It's
Mm,
good for the immune cell immunity with the cells, the im- cell immunity, as opposed to the
yeah.
human
Yeah.
one, which is
Yeah,
the
and the
production of
BCG
antibodies.
vaccine is being looked at for autoimmune conditions as well.
Hmm.
So it's being studied in relation. So there's usually it's the live vaccines tend
Yeah,
to be more beneficial than the killed vaccines. But
yeah,
regardless, we do have to look at risk benefits and we need to look at exposure because
mhm,
many of these illnesses, for example, polio is transmitted from oral intake of feces. So you get polio from eating somebody else's poop that has polio. So I'm sorry to be blunt. This is the
yeah.
fact. You eat someone else's poop that has polio in it. That's how you catch polio. Okay?
Oh
So
my
if you
God.
are not in a situation to eat other people's poop, you have
Yeah,
no risk of catching polio.
yeah, yeah. You
So
just have.
you have to understand the risk. Hepatitis B is contracted via sexual contact or
Mm,
blood. So if you're gonna be sharing needles because you're a drug user, you're at risk of
mm,
Hep B. But if
yeah.
you're a regular person in the community, you have no risk of Hep B.
Mhm.
So for all of these illnesses, we really need to understand the risk so that is it beneficial for you to get a vaccine? Okay, we live in a community where we have proper sewage system. We don't need to
Yeah,
get polio vaccine because we're at no risk of catching polio.
yeah.
We're not a drug user. We have no
Mhm.
risk of catching Hep B.
Mhm.
Tuberculosis, well, that's endemic in the Philippines, but you may take a vaccine which is supposed to prevent, it doesn't prevent TB, but it's supposed to prevent the outside of the lung TB. But the most important thing for prevention of TB is your vitamin D status and your nutrition. So,
Mm.
we have things we can do to stay healthy aside from getting an injection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, it goes back again how we treat the environment. Because if you get that, that's right. What do you call this? In New York, they tested the sewer system. What they, I don't know what they've isolated, but they were testing the sewer system, and that needs to be done. Like in, you know, big cities that are congested and so populated. So, anyways, that is the statement for today. It
Yeah.
is it's turning out to be a big scam, so when it is a scam, it doesn't do anything good to you. So yeah, so do we
Okay.
have another slide, or that's the one?
I
Yes.
think we're almost at the end. I mean, this was already done. Yes,
Yeah.
God bless the Philippines. So I'm going to just remind everybody we do have a wellness fair next weekend. That's on the 30th and the 1st. Please keep an eye out in our Viber groups because I understand the venue has changed, but the event's still going ahead. So please look out for that. We hope we will see you there. And other than that, I'm just going to remind everybody, please, cut the sugar. Number one, no cut your sugar. Sugar is not safe and it damages your immune system. So the number one thing you can do for your health is to get rid of sugar. Number two, sunlight. Get your rest and get your sunlight. Okay? Get your sunlight because vitamin D is
Mhm.
critical for our immune system function. And after that, get enough sleep and eat unprocessed local foods. I always say I talk about low carb and I say the low carb you should follow is I call it palenquito. You eat the food you could buy in the palenque. And this is the nutrition that you need. So whole unprocessed foods. And that's it. That's it. Keep going. And we'll see you
Yeah,
next week. I will see you next
yeah.
week. Okay. Doc, your turn.
Yeah, so guys, I just want to remind you, like we put RFK here because even though his movement is like it's all about make America healthy again, but in reality, the fact that we're talking about it and it's sweeping all over the world. So the real message is to make the world healthy again,
Correct.
and and
100% Doc.
yeah, in reality, it's really very easy, to achieve that, and we will see result. If you do the things that's going to be involved there, especially if you attend our detox and well-being fair, because we're going to be discussing things there, how we can go back to the basic, how we can make ourselves healthier, and how we what we need to learn and actually practice so that you will not need to have, because we're dealing with two big forces right now. Number one is obviously the big pharma, because they're the one perpetually making us sick with all their medication. But on top of that, obviously the big food. So it's the big pharma and the big food, because they're giving us all the fake ones that it for the most part, whatever products they're pushing on your throat, they don't kill you right away. They actually just kind of make you sick perpetually, which is they're very successful right now, because the chronic diseases are really bad and are really it's the pandemic. So if we have another pandemic right now, and it's been going on for so long already, napakatagal na po, it's the pandemic of chronic diseases, and that's what we have to fight. And when you are chronically ill at any age, it's going to be so profitable for them. And number two, it's not good for us. It's like they're squeezing us, they're squeezing people to the last drop of your blood, to the last drop of the blood, until you die. You are dependent on them, to be able to survive, not to be healthy, no? You're surviving. We are all like walking wounded, or you're like zombies. So if there's something again that you guys should remember for today, I know the title was RFK and Fauci, but what we are trying to impart to you is it's really time to go back to the basic and just take care of yourself. Super S Sally, she always has this message: what to eat, what you should do, your lifestyle, and so that's that. That's what we have to focus on. That's what we have to look at, and it really needs to be done by everyone so that we see the difference. And you'll see, if nobody is using their products, and their goal is to make profit, and nobody is using it, what do you think is going to happen to them? They're
Well,
gonna have a heart attack and they will die, because there's no money coming in, or it's not gonna stop right away, but it's not gonna be as big
well,
as they're used to seeing.
Pfizer stocks have been dropping very seriously. Pfizer stocks
Yeah,
are well below the pre-pandemic levels already. So,
yeah,
that's good news. People know that Pfizer is on the wrong side of history, and
mhm,
people talk with their money. So
yeah,
this is good news that the market is ultimately going to direct the outcome.
yeah, exactly. So, mga kababayan, napakasimple po, okay? Ang Pilipinas, napakaraming pagkain na natural, napakaraming mga gamot na natural. You have to demand that from your government to focus on it. And alam nyo, if they focus on the natural food, natural medicine, natural remedies, it's not going to be as expensive. I
Yes,
mean, that's
correct.
no brainer, right, Sally? The
Correct.
money that you're going to spend is not going to be as much, because what you have to spend on is really raising the awareness, because you're going to do it yourself. You can do it in your backyard, you can do it in your front yard, whatever yard you have. You just plant the things, you plant your food, you plant your medication or your remedies. And then and if you're healthy, obviously, it's either you don't get sick, or even if you get sick, it's not going to last very long.
Yeah,
And
and
so,
you know what? Don't be scared of getting sick. Getting sick from time to time is how your immune system
yeah,
becomes stronger. So
absolutely.
when
Yeah,
you get sick, you rest, you
yeah,
take plenty of fluids, you take your vitamin C, D, zinc, etc.
yeah,
If you really need medical care, you get medical care. But don't
yeah,
be terrified of sickness. It's a process that's necessary to become stronger. It's like
yeah.
training your muscles. You train your
Mhm.
muscles by working hard. Well, you train your immune system by getting sick occasionally.
Yeah, and this is the challenge, okay? And I've said this before. Do something that will make the doctors of today, the stream what do you call this, uh, the doctor, the Western doctor, or kind of stream medicine, the way we practice right now, make us obsolete. I challenge you, all of you, make the practice of medicine of today obsolete. And that is, you know, uh, we have to minimize, and we have to stop, if it can be stopped, um, the use of so much drug. So just like you see, because we don't stop talking, we use the alternative media, we use things like this. You see how the MSM, the mainstream media, the legacy media, they're becoming obsolete. And so you have to do the same thing to the practice of medicine, the allopathic medicine, or the mainstream practice of medicine. We need to make it obsolete. And I'll be very happy to see that. I know I'm a practicing physician here, but we need to change. We need it's very important. That's the kind of change that we need to see. Okay, that's the end for today.
Yep.
Sally and I, we have our own little thing. I'm under the weather today, really. I have like achy things, but I'm,
Well, you're
I'm gonna
still
fix
here.
myself.
Thank you. Thank you for being here despite under the weather. I'm okay, but I have a I injured
Yeah.
myself, so I have a sore knee. But anyway, I'm going to get that
Yeah.
dealt with. So
Francis is the one. You woke me up. Doc, doc.
very good.
Are
Thank you for being here.
you are you awake? I said, yeah, but I still have one more hour. And then he reminded me again that,
The
you
time
know,
is different
yeah,
here.
you're 1 hour ahead of us. So,
Yeah.
guys, what do you call this? Thank you so much for joining us today, as
Yeah.
usual.
Thank you again. Also.
It's nice talking to all of you, and I hope you continue, supporting us or listening to us, and we're gonna try to bring the information that we think is gonna be useful to you. Like that's that. Okay, we love
Yeah.
you. Sally
Thank
is doing
you.
the same
Good
thing, but
night. Yeah, I can't show my
okay.
face, but I'm doing the same thing. I love you
Yeah,
all and thank you so
yeah,
much.
we love you
And
all.
have a wonderful Sunday. Sleep well and have a wonderful Sunday.
Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat buong Pilipinas.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Yeah. Enjoy the weekend. Bye. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.